Iraqi Dinar Today latest news brings you into a moment that swept through the community with extraordinary force. Early this morning, long before most people had even settled into their routines, a sudden buzz ignited across chats, forums, timelines, and private groups. It wasn't a slow build-up or scattered trickle of updates. It was an eruption. A single claim echoed everywhere at once. The idea that the Iraqi Gazette had supposedly removed or altered references connected to the dual exchange rate. Whether the statement came from a misunderstanding, a hasty interpretation, or a simple rumor that caught the right moment, it instantly pulled people in. Messages poured out faster than most could read them. Screenshots traveled from phone to phone before anyone had verified them. And across the landscape of conversations, people were trying to make sense of a wave that rose seemingly out of nowhere and took over the morning completely. As the reaction spread, something became immediately noticeable. The speed with which people engaged was unlike ordinary chatter. In many communities, updates often take time to circulate, but this claim moved like a spark tossed into dry grass. Some individuals said they heard the Gazette had changed wording related to exchange rate terminology. Others insisted they saw lines suggesting the dual structure was no longer referenced. A few shared comments about differences in phrasing compared with previous entries. None of these observations were officially confirmed, yet the absence of verification didn't stop thousands from reacting emotionally. It was a moment where instinct responded before analysis, and the feeling of something might be happening grabbed hold before facts were established. People weren't acting out of carelessness, but out of years of emotional investment that made even a whisper of change feel significant. What unfolded next revealed the depth of the anticipation many people have been carrying for a long time. As conversations grew, the tone across messages wasn't casual or playful. It was intense, focused, and almost reverent. People used phrases that signaled how deeply they felt the moment, expressing things like believing a long-awaited shift might finally be emerging. The reaction wasn't shaped by hype, nor was it exaggerated. It carried a grounded seriousness from individuals who had followed updates, discussions, and historical developments year after year. The dual rate concept has been repeatedly discussed throughout the community as a symbol of complexity within Iraq's economic structure. So as soon as a rumor implied something might have changed regarding that topic, it naturally touched on one of the most emotionally charged areas of long-term conversation. As the hours unfolded, it became clear that geography or time zones didn't limit the reaction. Whether someone was just starting their morning in North America, stepping away from work in Europe, or preparing for sleep in the Middle East or Asia, the rumor reached them with remarkable speed. Groups that had been quiet suddenly became active. Comment sections that barely moved on most days turned lively in seconds. Channels that usually received slow, steady interaction saw people refreshing constantly. This collective reaction demonstrated that although community members are scattered around the world, the network they form is strongly connected. They may not know each other personally, but they share history, discussion, and years of emotional investment. That connection became visible today as people responded almost simultaneously to something that touched a shared nerve. Behind the excitement, another layer of emotion surfaced, one rooted in long-term endurance. Many individuals involved in these discussions began following developments over a decade ago, some even earlier. Others joined at different points, each carrying their own timeline of hopes, confusion, interpretations, and research. Regardless of when someone entered the journey, the shared experience has been defined by waiting. Waiting is not passive. It's not simply watching from the sidelines. It shapes how people think, how they react, and how they interpret small pieces of information. Waiting brings emotional highs and lows, questions, doubts, and hopeful reassurances. So when a rumor emerged that touched on a topic discussed for years, it didn't merely generate curiosity. It tapped into an emotional reservoir built over long stretches of time. The concept of the dual exchange rate has long carried symbolic meaning within many discussions. People reference it when analyzing economic shifts, government decisions, or public statements. It is often described as an area where clarity is needed to guide Iraq's future financial direction. For some, it represents complexity. For others, it symbolizes a barrier that must one day be addressed. So when today's rumor suggested that references to this dual structure may have been adjusted or removed in an official publication, it wasn't surprising that it triggered strong emotions. The idea of a unified or clarified exchange framework brings a sense of stability in the minds of many followers. Even if the rumor lacked confirmation, the mere possibility that progress might be happening was enough to stir hope. Throughout the day, the reactions people shared revealed something deeper than surface-level excitement. Many individuals used the moment to express personal struggles they have been carrying. For some, the long-term interest in dinar discussions isn't about financial speculation. It's about searching for hope in the middle of difficult circumstances. People face medical challenges, family responsibilities, economic pressures, or uncertainties that weigh heavily on them. For many, following developments offers a sense of purpose or a belief that positive change, whatever form it might take, remains possible. Today's rumor, regardless of its accuracy, reminded them of that possibility. It became a moment where people felt a rush of relief, simply because the idea of forward movement brought a brief break from life's heavier burdens. Amid the surge of excitement, people also experienced a wide range of emotions simultaneously. Hope and caution sat side by side, joy mixed with hesitation, interest blended with skepticism. These reactions didn't cancel each other out. They coexisted. Individuals shared messages expressing excitement, while also reminding themselves not to jump to conclusions. They acknowledged the emotional impact of hearing something that aligned with long-standing discussions, but they also recognized the importance of waiting for verifiable information. This balance demonstrates maturity rather than naivety. People weren't blindly accepting the rumor. They were acknowledging the emotional significance while still grounding themselves in realism. Another fascinating aspect of today's reaction was how closely it connected to years of anticipation. Over time, followers have studied policy adjustments, government statements, and financial reports. They've listened to analysis, read commentary, and tried to interpret the potential direction Iraq might take. This long-term engagement created a framework through which today's rumor made sense emotionally, even if it wasn't confirmed factually. When a rumor aligns with an issue that has been consistently discussed, like the dual exchange rate, it feels connected to a bigger storyline. Individuals aren't reacting simply to the rumor itself, but to the years of conversation that surround it. One of the most human parts of today's events was how openly people expressed their emotions. It wasn't just about forwarding screenshots or repeating claims. It was about sharing their internal responses. Some said they felt encouraged after months of feeling drained by slow news cycles. Others described feeling unexpectedly emotional because they hadn't experienced that level of hope in a long time. Some individuals prayed, some teared up. Others described feeling calm rather than excited. These reactions may seem intense, but they reflect the emotional weight that long-term uncertainty places on people. Sometimes even the suggestion of progress can touch a deeper place within those who have been waiting for clarity. To many, the dual rate issue isn't purely a technical subject. It represents a kind of final hurdle in their imagination, an unresolved piece of the story that symbolizes the larger theme of stabilization and clarity. When a rumor touches that symbolic point, it triggers not just curiosity but emotional resonance. A unified or clarified exchange framework, even as a concept, represents order in contrast to confusion. So today's rumor created a mental picture of potential forward movement. Even without confirmation, That image brought encouragement simply by allowing people to imagine a future where uncertainty might lessen. The sense of unity that emerged throughout the community was one of the strongest elements of today's response. People reached out to one another after long periods of silence. They shared perspectives, checked in on old friends, and reopened conversations that had faded over time. This kind of collective activation reminded everyone that although individuals may follow developments privately or quietly, they are part of a broader group that understands their thoughts and emotions. Community became visible again today, not through agreement or certainty, but through shared humanity. The strong reaction to the rumor wasn't a result of people being overly hopeful or uninformed. It came from years of emotional and intellectual investment. People have followed developments through political changes, shifts in leadership, global events, and evolving economic discussions. They've listened to experts, compared viewpoints, and tried to piece together a complicated picture. Their reaction today was simply the cumulative result of long-term involvement. When someone invests time and emotional energy into understanding a topic, even a small potential hint of change becomes significant. Long-term hope functions in a unique way. It shapes not only expectations but also emotional resilience. People who have held on to hope for many years build an internal narrative that helps them navigate uncertainty. For many, today's rumor didn't just activate a surface-level response. It triggered layers of old memories, past discussions, and moments where they previously felt close to clarity. This layered reaction shows how deeply human the experience is. People respond not only to facts, but to meaning, history, and the chronic tension between patience and anticipation. Even within the excitement, many individuals encouraged others to remain grounded. They emphasized the importance of waiting for official information and keeping emotions balanced. This shows that the community has grown wiser over time. People want to remain hopeful while also protecting themselves from disappointment. That balance, hope in one hand, patience in the other, is what shaped today's emotional landscape. The reaction was strong, but it wasn't reckless. It was thoughtful, emotional, and measured by years of experience. Throughout this conversation, it's important to acknowledge the individuals at the heart of it. Those watching, listening, reading, and staying informed have shown remarkable endurance. You have followed developments during fast-paced periods and long stretches of silence. You have remained engaged even when updates were sparse. You've carried this journey through moments that felt promising and others that felt uncertain. That perseverance is significant. It reflects strength, patience, and commitment, qualities that deserve recognition, regardless of how any rumor unfolds. Moments like today remind people that emotions are a natural part of this journey. Feeling hopeful is human. Feeling uncertain is human. Imagining a better outcome for your life or your family is human. But it's also essential to remember that your identity is not tied to any rumor or financial speculation. You are more than the discussions you follow. You are more than the uncertainty you navigate. Your future is shaped by many parts of your life, not by a single piece of news. Whatever unfolds, your resilience remains the constant that guides you forward. Today's rumor, whether accurate or not, stirred a powerful reminder. People still believe in progress, not because of a claim or a phrase, but because hope is something they choose to carry. Hope motivates people to continue learning, continue observing, and continue engaging. Even if information changes or becomes clarified later, the emotional renewal many felt today has its own value. It is a sign that people still have the strength to keep going. Many individuals said today felt like a shift, not necessarily in the external world, but within themselves. They felt reconnected after months of feeling disengaged. They felt renewed interest in monitoring developments. They felt motivated to learn more. That internal shift is its own kind of progress. It shows that even without confirmed changes, people can still find energy and direction by reconnecting with their sense of purpose. The long journey of following this topic requires endurance, and endurance shapes strong individuals. Each person who has stayed informed through ups and downs has shown remarkable consistency. Even when rumors came and went, even when news seemed slow, people continued forward. That perseverance is something to acknowledge. The path may be long, but those who remain steady develop resilience that extends far beyond a single topic. As this discussion comes to a close, what stands out most about today is not the rumor itself, but what it revealed. It highlighted unity, emotional connection, and the strength of a community that responded together. It reminded people why they began watching developments in the first place. It reaffirmed that even during uncertainty, individuals can remain steady, thoughtful, and hopeful. Whatever tomorrow brings, you are equipped to handle it because of the strength you've built over years of patience and awareness. Thank you for spending your time here with Iraqi Dinar Today Latest News. Your presence, your patience, and your engagement are what make the community come alive. Stay informed, stay steady, and take care of yourself as we continue following developments together.